guys, good afternoon. It's actually 3:30 right now. Pumpkin spice coffee with pumpkin spice whipped cream in September. All right. My name is Lydia. Today I am going to try to make salsa. Today's gonna be the first time that I ever can salsa. I've never done it before. I grow tons and tons and tons of tomatoes every year, but I never canned. I just didn't have the time. I am currently unemployed because I got laid off, so now I have the time. Little blessings, right? Not really, but kind of. So I have my water boiling so that I can blanch my tomatoes. So I, usually grow tons of tomatoes every year. This is only my fourth, I think, season gardening. Sorry if you hear a little voice. My baby monitor's on and my daughter's in her playroom watching Bluey. So, this year I actually started so many tomato plants and nothing happened. I barely got any tomatoes. I have some green tomatoes. None of them turned red. It's September and I had maybe 5 or 6 red tomatoes on the vine. So I picked all my green tomatoes. I've been trying to let them ripen inside, but it seems that they're rotting before I can get them processed. So I think I'm gonna do green tomato salsa, salsa verde, with the green tomatoes. And then I'm gonna do a couple different tomato recipes. I actually went to Aldi and I bought my Roma tomatoes because I want to do pasta sauce and I really want to do salsa, and I finally have the time to can, but I don't have tomatoes. So I just went ahead and bought what I needed. I did buy a couple tomatillos because my tomatillos didn't do very good either. Not only did the weather keep my tomatoes from producing, my dog also laid on all my plants. So I actually took the time this year and planted everything really late. I live in Illinois, so usually you're supposed to plant your garden in like end of May, mid-May maybe, depending on the weather. And I actually didn't plant anything until like second week of June because I tore out my entire garden. I made my garden originally out of recycled pallets and they started to break down. So my garden in the back is actually, we're on a hill kind of. So like my house is on a hill and then the hill gets a little bit taller in the back, in the very, very back corner of my garden. So everything kind of started to lean over. So I had to go ahead and invest in some raised beds. I just got the metal ones or whatever off of Amazon and I put those all in, but that meant transferring the dirt and tearing down the existing structure. It's a hot mess. I took the time to put garden fabric down and I don't know what it was. It looked like it was corn, but it wasn't corn. It was some type of grain. Took over my entire garden, grew through the fabric, and it was just not a good gardening year for me. On top of that, I have a 18-month-old, so there's not really much time to get out there and take care of that. So, long story not short, I bought most of my tomatoes and I didn't buy too many peppers. I did buy some bell peppers for these recipes because my bell peppers were really tiny. Once again, I wasn't out there taking care of the garden. It did produce a decent amount for being completely neglected. I don't think I even watered my garden one time this year. I think I watered when I put the garden in, and that was in June. We are in September. That's the only time I ever watered my garden. So it did decent for being completely neglected. Sometimes you have plans and they just don't work out. So, all right, let's start some salsa. So I'm gonna do my salsa from the Ball Complete Book of Home Preserving. I wanna do the fresh vegetable salsa. I also want to try I don't think we're gonna do spicy because I can't really handle spice like I used to after having a baby. I stopped eating spicy stuff because it would upset my stomach so much. And then I stopped eating spicy stuff after I had the baby because it would upset her stomach because I was nursing. So now we can't really handle spice like we used to. There's a couple that I actually want to do. We're gonna do like a milder salsa. I would rather like enjoy the flavors than, you know, have my mouth on fire. So I think we're gonna do also the zesty salsa. That sounds pretty good. And then I want to do the Simple House salsa and salsa verde with the green tomatoes because I have a million green tomatoes. And I think I'm gonna try to see if I have enough tomatillos to do the tomatillo salsa. I'm trying to make enough salsa for the year because, I mean, why not? And then tomorrow, my husband works from home, so he'll be able to help watch the munchkin over there. Speaking of, I need to go find her. She's still in there. She's just out of the view of the camera, but I heard her sneeze, so she's good. He will be home tomorrow working from home, and then I think he's off on Thursday and then works from home again on Friday. So I think that gives me enough time to, I want to do some strawberry something. I don't know if I want to do strawberry jam or if I want to just do a strawberry concentrate like syrup for like, you know, pancakes and waffles. We don't really eat too many pancakes and waffles, but it just sounds so good. And then I need to do tomato sauce. I'm definitely doing tomato sauce this year. We actually don't eat that much pasta in my house. I love pasta, but we just don't eat that much of it. We're really like a stir-fry rice family. Well, because that's what I like to eat, so that's what everybody eats. I love vegetables and meat and rice. Like that's my, and you can make it different every day. It doesn't have to always be the same. So that's my go-to. I don't really do pasta, but I do want some pasta sauce. And if that lasts us 2 years, great. If it only lasts us 1 year, okay, we'll make more, hopefully. All right, so let's start with the, I think I'm just gonna chop as many tomatoes as I can because this is all, you know, chopped, peeled tomatoes, chopped, cored, peeled tomatoes, chopped, cored, peeled tomatoes. So I think we're just gonna chop, core, and peel as many tomatoes as I can. I have a bunch in my sink right now. So these are the tomatoes that I bought from the store. Oh, there's a red pepper in there. And I have more. This isn't it, but the other ones I want to kind of save for pasta sauce. These are the ones that I grew, and you know, like these just turned red, but they already have like some bad spots on them. So I think these might be for pasta sauce as well because I can cut off the bad spots. Like this, yeah. I grew probably 40 tomato plants and this is all I have to show for it. It's so sad. Ew, this one's gross. All right, so I need to get a ice bath going and I think I'm just gonna do it, I don't know if I'm gonna do it in a bowl or if I'm just gonna do it in my sink. There's a lot of tomatoes to just put in a bowl. We're probably gonna do it in the sink. So that means I need to take all these tomatoes out that I'm gonna use for pasta and put those somewhere else and put the ice bath in the sink. So let me do that. Okay, so my timer just went off on my slow cook. I am making a blueberry butter from this Food in Jars. Don't mind the scribble marks. That's from my dearly daughter. It's slow cooker blueberry butter. It looks delicious. It's only 3 pint jars, but it's 8 cups pureed blueberries, 2 cups sugar, zest and juice of 1 lime, 2 teaspoons ground cinnamon, and half a teaspoon freshly grated nutmeg. I put it in for an hour, and it says to remove the lid and stir. From this point forward, you will want to keep the lid slightly cracked, propping it open with a wooden spoon or chopstick, allowing for the evaporating steam to escape. The butter will need between 4 to 8 hours total in the slow cooker. So, let's do that. I've got my wooden spoon. Ooh, she's thick. She thick. These are not homegrown blueberries. I do have 10 blueberry bushes that I purchased from MI Gardener at the beginning of the season, but I never got the chance to plant them. So they've been in my sunroom, and they actually look really good. Like, they've got the leaves on and everything. I've been watering. I'm going to up pot them soon, probably within the next month. I'm going to up pot them into something bigger, a little bit more permanent for the fall and winter. And then next year I'm going to have to invest in some larger pots because I don't want to plant them in the ground. I don't really want to live in this house forever. So the plan is to eventually move to Alaska. So that is where my preserving journey is going, and my gardening. So I live in Illinois. It's definitely a different climate than Alaska, but I'm gonna try to do a fall garden this year and see how that goes, and really like try to preserve the crops that I'd be able to grow in Alaska, like cabbages and broccolis and things like that, rather than just focus on only tomatoes and peppers because those are a little bit harder to grow there. Although I will probably grow them there. Like, you can get a high tunnel and things like that. I watch so many YouTubers that live in Alaska, and I learn from them. So okay, let's put that. It says to prop it. Oopsie daisies. So I am going to go ahead and put this on slow cook low for, oh, there's a fruit fly. I'm gonna say we're gonna do 5 hours because it says between 4 and 8, right? Actually, let's do 6 hours. We're gonna let this slow cook for 6 hours, and then it says in the last hour you want to add your sugar, lemon zest, juice, and spices. So we'll do that. Okay, so your girl forgot to make ice. So we're gonna see if this works without ice. I got 1 piece of ice. All right, so I am gonna be using my canning pot to blanch my tomatoes. I don't have a stock pot big enough. I actually had to go buy one just to make cowboy candy, because I usually just use my Instant Pot to make soup and things like that, but I didn't this time, so I had to go buy one. It was hot. All right, let's let this come up to a little bit more of a boil. It's boiling a little bit, but I've had it on low, so let's turn it up a little bit. While she's starting to boil, I am gonna go ahead and get my onions, bell peppers, jalapenos, garlic, and cilantro all chopped up for this recipe. I'm starting with the fresh vegetable salsa, and then I'll go on to the next ones after that. But I think I'm gonna chop everything. Yeah, we're gonna chop everything. So let me do the math real quick. Okay, so I need 8.5 cups of onions for all of these recipes. So I'm gonna get my chopper out because I'm not chopping these by hand. So I'm gonna get my onions. For large onions, these are from Sam's Club because I haven't mastered the art of onion growing. If you have any tips, please leave it in the comments because I cannot, for the life of me, grow onions. Do you need a nap? Come here, love. Come on. Drama. Drama. Nap time. Okay, so we're gonna get these onions chopped up. We're gonna do it as quietly as we can with the chopper because my daughter just fell asleep on the couch, so. Okay, so I think that's about 8.5 cups of onions. Even if it's not, I can cut more. I have one more left here. Well, I've got 2 bags left, so I've got plenty of onions if I need more onions. Now we are gonna do the green peppers. So I need about 8 cups of green peppers, so let's chop those. I'm gonna chop them with the chopper so that everything's kind of a uniform size. I'm gonna go ahead and just chop up, I think it was 5 or 6 of these green bell peppers, because even if I have too many, I put green bell pepper in everything. I've got a bunch of baggies, freezer bags in my freezer full of green pepper because I want to have green peppers in the winter to put in my dinners and not have to pay, you know, $2 a pepper. Get another bowl. Got all my clean bowls behind me. So I ended up doing 1 red bell pepper because one of the recipes says that you can mix red and green. So I think I'm gonna do 1 cup of red and 1 cup of green in that other salsa recipe because I think that would be delicious. I love red pepper. So now I need to do jalapenos. So one recipe calls for 8 jalapenos, and then the other recipes call for it in cups. So I'm going to separate 8 jalapenos, and then I think it's 2.5 cups for the other 2 recipes, and I'm gonna kind of keep those separate just because I need to have the correct ratio, I think. I don't know, I'm new to canning, so I don't really want to mess with anything. I kind of just want to do it exactly as it says to do it. And as I become more experienced, because I think this is only the 3rd thing I've ever canned. My first canning recipe was a couple days ago, and that was sweet and hot pickled peppers. So I did a mixture of hot peppers and sweet peppers. All of the hot peppers came from my garden. I had serranos, jalapenos, I had natapenos, I had a ton of shishitos, I had Italian pepperoncinis, I had Big Jim chilies, everything, okay? Like every pepper that you could, probably not every pepper you could imagine, but tons of peppers. And then all of the sweet peppers, I actually just did mini sweet bell peppers that I bought from Sam's Club or Aldi or whatever. I buy those all the time. I love putting them in everything that I cook. My daughter will eat a raw mini sweet pepper, no problem, she loves them. So we always have those in the house. So I had a ton of bags of those, so we mixed the hot peppers and the sweet peppers, made pickled peppers. And then I did cowboy candy, but I did a hot version and a mild version. So for the hot version, it was all hot peppers from the garden. And then the mild version was a mix of hot peppers and the sweet peppers from Sam's or wherever I got them. So, and the mild one is really good. It was pretty spicy, so I can't imagine how spicy the spicy one is. Oof. So I bought these jalapenos from Walmart because they were pretty cheap. When it says 8 jalapenos, I don't think they're talking about this size jalapeno. So I need to look and see maybe the weight in jalapenos. Okay, so these are way too big to be putting 8 of these in there. So I think I'm gonna do this really big one, this one, and maybe this one. I think that would equal 8, like regular size jalapenos, right? Because like I have a jalapeno, well, this is a paprika pepper, but this is like the normal size of a jalapeno, right? Not this. This is ridiculous. And I think it said that you can change the type of pepper based on your heat preference. I'm cool with it being spicy. I'm probably gonna de-seed these just because I don't want it to be super spicy. This pepper's like growing a pepper inside of it. It's weird. So, funny story. The reason I actually wanted to start gardening was one time I opened a spaghetti squash and it had a little sprouting spaghetti squash inside of it. And I did everything I possibly could to keep that spaghetti squash alive. But I had never gardened before, so of course it didn't survive. But that really like sparked my want for gardening. And that was a couple months before I bought my house. So then when I bought my house, I tried to start a tiny little garden and I realized how hard it was gonna be. So I failed horribly. The only thing I got that year was like, I think I got cucumbers maybe. And oh, that one was hot. And I got a giant sunflower that like nothing could kill. We had like a tornado. Well, no, it didn't touch down by my house, but tornado winds come through and that thing was still standing. I mean, it took down trees all around the neighborhood, but my sunflower was standing strong. It was pretty cool. But everything else died. I didn't like amend my soil. I literally just threw the garden in like this tiny little corner in the yard. And then after that year was when I was like, okay, we're gonna start a real garden. But I didn't have the money to start a real garden because I think it was during COVID. So I bought my house the July of 2019, right before COVID started. And so it was 2020 when I started my real garden. So I didn't really have that much money. Everything was super expensive. So I worked, I don't anymore, at a printing company. So we had a ton of, that's a spicy jalapeno. We had a ton of pallets and they were heat treated pallets because it was paper. So I took home a ton of those and I chopped them all up. I screwed them all together in my backyard and I filled them with dirt and I had a huge garden. But then it, started to deteriorate because it's pallets, it's wood. It's not like, it wasn't sealed with anything. It was just a heat treated pallet, so. All right, so I'm gonna do my garlic. I did grow garlic this year, but I failed to do anything with it and left it out on my porch outside the entire year. So we're gonna just use that as seed garlic this year. I just have found that when you have a 1-year-old, there's not much that you can really do. While I do that, I'm gonna drink some of my coffee because it's getting cold. I could drink coffee like it's water. It's so good. All right, so let's get to these tomatoes. Here's what they're looking like in the water, and they're already peeling off. Look at that, just came right off. That's awesome. I've never done this before, so that's pretty cool. All right, I'm gonna get as many of these tomatoes done as I can. I'm probably gonna do like that full sink full, and then we'll see where we're at after we chop them up and get as many cups as we need for all 3 of those salsa recipes. So I'll be back. Okay, so I diced my 7 cups of tomatoes, put in my tomato paste, my cumin, put all of that into the pot, and I still gotta add my cilantro and then boil for 30 minutes. Here's what this salsa is looking like so far. I've got a couple more minutes to let this boil or simmer. And I've got my water bath canner starting to heat up. I've got my lids back here heating up. And this is a recipe for 10 8-ounce jars. So I've got my 8-ounce brand new box of them. We're gonna get these washed and give them a vinegar bath and lay them out so we can get to canning. So it's about 9 o'clock right now. I finished my first batch of salsa, ate dinner, you know, hung out with my family for a little bit, and then started my second batch, which this batch is the zesty salsa from the Ball Complete Book of Home Preserving. So this is the zesty salsa. And I decided to do this in pints, the 6-pint jars, instead of the 12 8-ounce jars, because I just feel like this one I made a little bit thicker, like it's a little bit chunkier, so it looks more like a pico than an actual salsa. So I figured we'll just do larger jars, because then we'll probably take larger bites. Okay, I need to wash more jars because I still have a ton of salsa in here. So I'm 90% sure I didn't mess the recipe up, but I'm thinking this is more like 8 to 9 quarts. I might do, or pints. I might do some 8-ounce jars. Just some smaller ones. That's probably what I'll do. So I'm gonna go ahead and process these ones because my water's been boiling for a while. So I'm gonna do these 6, and then I will fill up the rest of them, figure out what I'm gonna do. I've got to wash and put my lids back in hot water. So let's get that going again. All right, I'm gonna grab the lid and these will go for 15 minutes. I am going to get some more jars washed and probably do some 8-ounce jars. 'Cause I've got a couple here. Maybe I'll probably, yeah, I don't know. I've got quite a bit left. It says makes about 12 8-ounce jars or 6 pint jars. So, I mean, I did 10 cups, 5 cups, 5 cups, 2.5 cups, 1.25 cup. Yeah, I mean, I did the recipe correctly. I think I might taste it. So I put a mixture of peppers in here. Let's see. That's delicious. That's a really good, ooh, that bite had a little bit of kick. That's a really good chunky salsa. That would be really good on like tacos, just to give it some like, you know, crunch. I don't know if it'll be crunchy after it processes, but it's good. That's good. The apple cider vinegar makes it really good. I did a couple different peppers. I did some jalapenos, and then I did shishitos and whatever like random pepper. I don't even know what my peppers were that were in there, but I put a mixture in there. It's really good. I did take out the seeds though because I didn't want it too spicy, and it's the perfect amount of spice. It's delicious. With that being said, I'm not upset that I have more than what I planned for because that's awesome. All right, so I got 2 more pints and an 8-ounce. And I've still got a teeny tiny bit left, but I'm not too worried about that. So looking good. We'll put that in the next batch. I don't know if I'm gonna make another batch. I probably should because I still have a ton of peeled tomatoes. So I gotta figure out what salsa I'm gonna make next. I know that I was going to do the Simple House salsa. So I'll probably do that because I do have the chipotle, canned chipotles and adobo. And I did chop all that red pepper. This is how my blueberry butter is looking. I just added my zest and juice of 1 lemon, my 2 cups of sugar. I used cane sugar, and I did 2 teaspoons of cinnamon, and I did like a 1/4 teaspoon of grated nutmeg, but I did ground nutmeg, not grated nutmeg, because I don't have fresh nutmeg. So now this has to cook for about another hour. It smells amazing. All right, sorry about my voice, but I caught a cold. This night we did make 4 different types of salsa, which were amazing. And then we moved on to the pasta sauce. I'm doing the same thing that I did earlier for the salsa and just putting an X in the bottom of the tomatoes before I put them in the boiling water. The X helps the skin peel off after you boil them and put them in cold water. All right, so now we're gonna put our tomatoes in the boiling water. You wanna make sure that it's actually boiling. And then you only have to boil it for about 30 seconds. I let it go a little bit longer because I really load up this pot full of tomatoes. So I probably let it boil for about like a minute. So once your tomatoes have been in the boiling water for whatever designated time that you want, I think that the longer that you do it, I mean, there's not really anything bad that can happen. It just helps remove the skins, I mean, that much better, if that makes sense. So then you take out your tomatoes from the boiling water and you're supposed to put them in the ice bath, but I didn't have ice, so I just filled up my sink full of cold water, and that seemed to work. And then once the water in the sink got a little bit warmer, I just ran cold water over them again. Here we are with round 2 of putting the X in the bottom of the tomatoes. You're going to have to do this multiple times depending on how many tomatoes you have. And to do sauce, I mean, you have to have a ton of tomatoes. Like this is a lot of work. It's a labor of love. I didn't realize how much work it was until I actually got into it. I think this night I didn't go to bed until probably 4 o'clock in the morning. And I ended up just putting my sauce back into this roaster pan after I boiled it down and left it on warm, because I was not going to deal with it that night. You can see how easy the skins come off after you put them in the cold water. I mean, I'm doing this with one hand and a baby on my hip, so that just shows how easy these skins are coming off. I mean, this I think is the best way to do it. I know you can roast them in the oven, but I don't have that much oven space unless you got like 4 ovens. This would take you literally all day if you roasted these in the oven, so I think this is the way to go. All right, now it is time to smash your tomatoes. I'm using a potato masher. I know people blend them and then put them back in their pot or whatever, but I like to put them in this roaster pan and then mash them up and let them cook down a little bit and soften, and then I'll go ahead and put them through my mill. I actually don't have like a big blender. I have like a little tiny Ninja, so maybe we'll invest in a larger capacity blender for next year, but this worked just fine. You can hear my daughter yelling "Dada" over and over again in the background, and every time I watch this video over, I just start laughing because it's literally the cutest thing.
Dada's working, Allie.
Okay, so here comes the most tedious part of the sauce making. Is once you've cooked it down a little bit, or blended it to the consistency that you want. I think I went in with an immersion blender in there, which seems to work, but I think having an actual blender would have been a lot easier, because then I could have just dumped that into the food mill from there. But now you're going to put your sauce into your food mill, and I highly suggest using a food mill because your sauce comes out so smooth and beautiful, and it's amazing. And I am warning you right now, your arm is going to be so sore if you get one of these manual food mills. This only cost me like $35 or something like that, maybe $40 on Amazon or Walmart or wherever I got it. It's the Artisan brand, and I love it. I never used a food mill before, but I think this one's great. I know you can invest in like the larger electric ones, but I'm just not at that point yet with my, sauce making endeavors. Okay, are you ready to see what your sauce is going to look like after you go through all of that work, standing there for hours at the food mill, just turning and turning and turning? It is so worth it. Look at this beautiful, beautiful sauce. It's so smooth and it's just beautiful. You have to cook this down for quite a bit. I believe it's a third of the way for a thin sauce, half cooked down halfway for a thick sauce. I did a thin sauce and I'm pretty sure I got about 16 pints out of this, which is amazing. I ended up canning this the next day. I did not record that because it was like 4 o'clock in the morning.
It is about 2 a.m. and my sauce is still boiling. So we are going to pick this up in a separate video because this is taking a long time. So thank you for watching if you did watch, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.
Alright guys, here's a little bonus of when I made my palette garden. I actually made a TikTok video, but I just never really posted it anywhere. So this is the video of me making my palette garden, my very first garden. It's pretty cool. So enjoy.